So I wanted to, I saw this story last week. This is kind of actually the impetus for this whole episode. And just to see a more cultural example of an institution that is dying. I saw a statistic the other day on Vegas that I thought was really interesting. So this is blowing up on X, and it was a lot of other places. I saw it on X first, like I do most of my news. And I saw that revenues for Las Vegas are down more than 11% year over year, which is astonishing. Like, that is an astonishing statistic. So Las Vegas, the entertainment capital of the world in many instances, their revenues total across the city are down 11% year over year. And this is going to be more of an economic discussion we're going to have, but it's something more than economic. But to focus on the economics for a second, this is a devastating blow to happen to Vegas. Because what Vegas is, I've been to Vegas, I think, like probably 4 times. I've never liked it. There's a reason I don't go. I've never gone out in Vegas. Like, I think that's disgusting, to be honest. But anyway, but I do know that the economics of Vegas, if you go there, like, you can't really avoid it. Vegas is a tourism and a service-based economy. They have some of the best restaurants in the world, obviously some of the best casinos in the world. They host, big boxing matches and UFC fights and everything like that. It is a wow, look at this economy. Like, they have great chefs, they have great fighters, they have great casinos. There's lots of money in the city. They have a lot of big personalities that live there. Hormozy lives there, Goggins lives there, Dana White lives there, everything like that. But the problem when you have, this is where the United States broadly has gone wrong. If you have primarily a service-based economy, which is what we have now in the United States, which is a catastrophe, and it's tourism as well, because people want to see, like, oh my gosh, I want to go to Vegas, whatever. And so the service-based economy, what that means is the vast majority of the people that work in that economy are waitresses, they are casino workers, they are restaurateurs, they are cooks, a lot of other things. And so Vegas does not have a thing that they create other than what is being created out there on its own accord, which, if you take out that leg of the stool, Vegas is just going to collapse. And we've seen that with the revenues all dropping in terms of, Vegas and everything like that. So when you take out the revenue of the service-based economy, when you cannot pay your workers to shuffle your cards and to clean your bathrooms in the casino, or to work on the grill at the restaurant, like whatever, it's gonna spiral into more and more bad stuff all the time. And this obviously is not a sustainable thing at all. And they're going to need, I believe, maybe government intervention, at least from the state of Nevada and probably the federal government, to save that city. And honestly, like with Trump in there, they might get it, just because Trump loves Vegas. Trump has a hotel, I believe, out there, and he's good friends with Dana White, and he loves, the UFC fights and everything like that. And the thing about entertainment, about service, restaurants, casinos, arenas, the Sphere, etc., is that they are all based on labor. Like I mentioned, it's all waitresses, it's all concession stand workers, it's security guards, whatever. It is a heavy labor-intensive economy that Vegas is built on. And so labor, for those who do not know, is the most expensive part of any business. That's why the immigration issue is such a big deal. They want to get cheaper labor to do manual work. That's why, previous administrations opened the borders. It wasn't because they wanted to be nice to brown people, because if they wanted to be nice to brown people, they'd have them come in legally, but they didn't. They wanted cheap labor and they wanted votes, which is why they opened our border, but that's a whole separate issue. But generally, the point is, if you're working a construction crew based on United States citizens, regardless of color or national origin or whatever, but if they're citizens of this country, you have to pay them more than you would someone who is not, in terms of that, because labor is expensive. The work hours you pay someone is expensive. I have a good friend of mine, a family friend. They own a roofing business up in Northeast Ohio. They have to pay their labor crews to go out and they put shingles on houses. They clean out the yards, all that kind of stuff. And so the thing about that is, if you do not have cash flow, if you do not have consistent revenue over time coming in to stimulate that, to pay your workers, you're going to go under. This is why, restaurants and grocery stores, anything based on food, really, for example, their margins are, if they're lucky, about 1% to 2%. 1% to 2%. This is why if the soon-to-be mayor of New York, the government runs grocery stores, that this is, if he actually seizes that property, it's going to be bad. It's going to be really bad because the margins are already so thin already. And if you make them thinner by intervening in a way that you should not, it's a catastrophe. It's just an absolute catastrophe. So that's the economic reality of this. But why is this actually happening? Why is Vegas taking a nosedive? Like, we're Americans. We love Vegas and the lights and the casinos and the fights and the gambling and all that kind of stuff. Like, we love that in some ways. I don't, and many people in Gen Z don't. That's why I wanted to bring this up now. So I think the reason why, and Vegas exists to profit primarily off of young people. Young people like, oh my God, I've never gambled before in my life. Oh my God, I want to go out in Vegas. I want to go to a rooftop and see Tiesto or like whatever. And so, but what's happening is that Gen Z is kind of done with that stuff. They're not interested. They're not interested in like the debauchery, the hollowness, the fraudulence, really, that comprises the Vegas ecosystem. Like, I personally have never met a person of my age bracket that has gone out of their way to go to Vegas that I respect from a values perspective. I know people my age that have gone to Vegas, but a person that I really respect, I'm like, okay, that person's got a good head on their shoulders, going to go somewhere, they're doing something, they're on a good trajectory in their life. They've never gone to Vegas, ever. And I think that's for a reason, because Gen Z's value system that they have adopted is that it has made them incompatible with something so empty, morally debased, like criminal, if we're being honest, in terms of, gambling and all that kind of stuff, as Las Vegas, which is obviously a major issue for the city that thrives on that business to be going strong for them. So if they do not have a pipeline of young people to go to casinos and go to the restaurants and go to the brothels and do all these things and have sex with people and whatever, they will not have a city. They will not have an economy that works. Because Vegas does not produce anything, remember. Vegas is a transactional economy. It's all, I want to go see U2 at the Sphere. I want to go see a UFC fight at T-Mobile Arena. I want to go gamble at the Venetian or whatever. And I've been to Vegas multiple times. I've eaten at their restaurants. Restaurants are fine and, good. Actually, I think their food is pretty good. And so, like, I've had lobster and steak there. It's fine. But this is getting to the bottom of the brainstem on this. I think that Vegas, the ugly truth about Vegas, and this is the thing that I think people are starting to realize, is that Vegas was always a boomer fantasy and fetish that got way out of control. Like, Vegas is a boomer thing. Boomers like, oh my God, I want to go to Vegas. I want to gamble. I want to throw away my child's college fund at, this and hookers and slot machines and whatever. So the boomers, the most entitled generation in American history, wanted to create a grand crown jewel for the time that they grew up in, a time of opulence, decadence, all those things. So they created Vegas. And it's so perfect that it's happening this way, because it is the perfect, emblematic symbol of a valueless generation that was devoid of anything of substance. Everything that we make, everything that we do, that we say, how we talk to people is a projection of something, most certainly your values. And it is totally emblematic of the generation that despises Gen Z so much, which is the boomers. It is the most boomer thing ever, is Las Vegas. I'm going to abandon my responsibilities, throw away my hard-earned money at gambling or girls or, drinks or a nightclub or like whatever it's going to be. And there's places everywhere. But when you have a city built around this and you have a whole generation of people abandon that city for something else, that's an issue. And I don't think it's an issue that is without cause, which is why Gen Z is not going there anymore. And they shouldn't go there anymore, because Vegas, I think, needs to die. And I'm glad that it is, to a large degree.